Hey, it's Jeremy from OpticHouse.com. So, I am doing an exercise that I learned in a storyboarding class that I'd taken from instructor Carl Ganas, who also teaches a lot of life drawing classes I take. And this exercise is referred to as reverse storyboarding. What you can't see off the screen is that I'm constantly playing and then pausing the movie Mad Max Fury Road. And what I'm doing here is basically I'm looking at all of the shots from the start of an action to the end of an action, from the start of a cut to the end of a cut, and I'm doing little small thumbnails in Sharpie, in marker and pen, just studying the film composition. And the little text notes that I'm adding there are really just for me so that I can understand what I'm drawing here when I come back and look at it later, because these images are pretty abstract. And the point of this abstractness is that I don't want to get detailed in these drawings. I really want to understand the composition, how the imagery is filling the frame, and how the elements that are in the frame are moving across it. The whole point of this is that good composition, what is good composition, whether it's done in comic books, whether it's done in film, whether it's done in photography. And, I myself, as a comic book creator, feel that there's a lot to be learned from studying the visual narrative of film. Some comic creators try to actually shy away from film, and the point of that is that there's a lot of things that are a lot of storytelling that is very unique specifically to comic books. The fact that you have multiple images on a page juxtaposed at one time means you can play with time in a way that you can't do in prose or in cinema, because you've got multiple images at one time that, depending on the context of how they are framed and organized, you can be showing the past, the present, the future, multiple presents, all sorts of different options of time existing at once. And that's something that is truly unique to the comic book storytelling medium. However, I am of the opinion that you should learn as much as you can about all different forms of storytelling, whether it's poetry, film, sculpture, literature, anything that exists to communicate a narrative. There's a lot to be learned from, and then see what you can take from other fields and bring it into your own. And my own is as a comic book storyteller. So, Mad Max Fury Road was a movie that I, like many people, really enjoyed. And I found it really visually exciting. It had such an epic feel and scope. And I was particularly wanted to start at the beginning and do that opening sequence, because I just remember how kinetic and frantic that opening sequence where Mad Max was being captured and then chased around in the caves. And what is really amazing to me is just how much storytelling is packed into the opening sequence of the film. Because my original intent was to storyboard all the way up through the chase inside Immortan Joe's Citadel, as the war boys are chasing him around from one end to the other, until he finally ends up swinging out of that cave and over that massive opening in like a blue open sky, and then gets pulled back in, and finally they club him and drag him away. And just in the opening shot of like Max standing there out in the desert free, eating that lizard, to the cars chasing him down the road, and before I even get to the point where he's captured the first time, they're getting ready to brand him. I didn't even make it to that point, just because I didn't have enough time. Like, I only set aside I think an hour or two to do these studies, just for myself. They weren't for a project for any class. I wish I had time to do more of these and to do them over a wider variety of genres of films, because I feel that there's a lot to be learned from studying as many different things as possible, and studying good art, studying good storytelling in all of its forms. But alas, I only had like a couple hours to do these studies. Didn't get very far in the film. And I think the next time I sit down and do it, I'll probably pick a completely different film, which is a shame because there's still more that I want to learn from Max. In fact, you know what? I don't know if I'll be able to resist not going back and finishing at least that opening sequence, because that foot chasing through the Citadel was what I was originally really focusing when I sat down to do this. So there's a lot to learn from that movie. There's a lot to learn from many. if you sit down and look at the composition, this is one of the best ways to understand composition. Breaking it down visually yourself. Like, this is highly unlikely that this is what the storyboards in the film look like, but they give me a chance to deconstruct the storytelling on my own and reinterpret it. That's it for now. Check out my website, optichouse.com. If you enjoy these videos, please share them. Also, sign up for my weekly newsletter to get a free digital download and see what else I'm working on. Go be creative.